want you to lie.
I explained this. I have to lie. Everybody lies. Mommy lies. Even the wonderful Jerry lies.
But you're the only one that makes me feel bad.
Max, recess is over. Come on in.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Welcome into Rip City Retro Extra. My name is Rich Finley, and this is unexpected. This is an emergency pod, if you will. Tonight is Thursday night, June the 20-something? June 22nd. Happy birthday to Clyde the Glide Drexler. And Mute That Bozo, if I'm remembering correctly. Mute That Bozo from our subscriber and who comments in a lot of our comments. So happy birthday to them both. And what a wonderful, just chef's kiss day to celebrate Clyde Drexler and Mute's birthdays than the 2023 NBA draft. And I just had to get on here to talk to you guys. Now, there's a couple of things. So this is essentially a Rip City Retro Extra. It's just me jumping on here to talk to you guys a little bit. Now, normally when I do these, I go through the comments that you have left on previous videos and things like that, and I'll do one of those here in the next couple days. So the reason that I wanted to hop on here tonight was to just kind of touch base with you guys a little bit about my thoughts on how the NBA draft went tonight and basically what has been going on the last couple days. So Eric Brandt and I filmed a long video this past Sunday on Father's Day. Eric was nice enough to do it after he was done with all of his Father's Day activities and things like that. We started chatting around 10 o'clock at night. We went until like 3 in the morning, and we just talked for so long. It was our top 10 most painful moments as Blazer fans. And so we did the podcast. We took a break in between, but it was really, really long. And Eric had the great idea towards the end of, hey, how about we just chop this up into 2 episodes? And I said, oh, that's a great idea. So I put part 1 out today. I think I told you guys before, I don't have the best equipment, so basically, I think I told somebody this the other day. I have the equivalent of a VCR with a typewriter on top of it. Like that's the kind of equipment that I'm working with here with Rip City Retro. But I try to put things together as quickly as possible, but I also try to make the quality good for you guys. You know, like the things that I put at the front and all the different clips that I show and things like that. And these files are massive files, so when I'm uploading them, my system is really slow, all that. So it takes a long time to put together a single episode where Eric and I are talking about whatever our long-form topic is. A video like this is a little bit easier for me to put together, so that's why I'm able to get it out to you a little bit quicker. But I had planned on releasing the second half of our top 10 most painful moments as Blazer fans, and that's probably going to come out this Sunday. Part 2, and I hope you guys watch it, but at the same time, now I'm like, man, that is really outdated, because I'm feeling like, yeah, this moment right now, this kind of feels, number one, like this is a really bad gut punch, what's going on with this franchise right now, and I want to do a longer video about it later, because I don't think that something like the state of the Blazers and where we're at right now, I don't think that this happens just on its own spontaneously. You wake up one day and you're like, we have a terrible owner. Like these things take time, and it takes time to systematically grind down a franchise to a point to where you're in a state like we all as Blazer fans feel like we feel right now. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people out there who are going to be really excited about Scoot Henderson, and you can't wait to see him play. And I agree with you. Like, it's so weird to be in this two-place, of feeling like, man, Scoot Henderson is great and he's an amazing talent and I can't wait to watch him play. And it's amazing because a once-in-a-lifetime point guard doesn't come along. But then we have this once-in-a-lifetime point guard who we seem to be passive-aggressively just pushing away. We have become the boyfriend who refuses to do anything for the person that we're dating, and we're gonna make her do it. You know, we're like, I don't want to break up with her, but if she makes the decision to break up, not that I have any experience with that, but that's what this feels like. This is icky. Like, we are pushing Dame into a corner where he's clearly established what he wants from this franchise, what he wants to see this franchise attempt to do. This franchise has given all kinds of lip service about agreeing to do it. And then we go and draft Scoot Henderson, and that's fine. Scoot is an amazing talent. I don't have much of a problem with drafting Scoot Henderson because in and of itself, it's an amazing draft pick. In other years, he would be the number 1 pick. However, in our current situation, what does this mean? Like, we have Shaden Sharp, we have Anthony Simons, we have Dame, and now we have Scoot Henderson. And it's kind of a situation where it's like, okay, well, where is Scoot going to get minutes? Are you going to trade Ant? I mean, obviously, Ant and the number 3 pick was the package for the longest time. But then you hear things coming out like Portland didn't call other teams to offer the 3. Portland just sat back and took calls for the number 3 pick. Huh? Like, and this is all compounded with Portland's being really aggressive. I remember Brian Windhorst came out and made that statement. Portland's being really aggressive. And then the one that did it for me, the one that really made me concerned, was when it came out that Portland was interested in acquiring Bam Adebayo. And that made me go, wait a minute. Because Miami's never going to trade Bam Adebayo. I mean, not right now. So why would Portland call Miami and try to acquire Bam Adebayo? Now, some people might sit here and go, well, Bam, like Dave, that's his dog, right? Like he said that. He said Mikal Bridges and Bam Adebayo. Those are 2 of his dogs. If he had to play somewhere else, if he had to, obviously Miami would be one, and he laughed because they're in the NBA Finals. And then he talked about Brooklyn. So the Bam Adebayo leak felt like, hey, we tried. We called up Miami. We tried to get Bam Adebayo. We offered a re-signed Justice Winslow and a bag of chips, and they said no. But we tried. We tried to get Bam. We tried to improve this team for you. Like, that's what it felt like. And as soon as I heard the Bam report, I didn't get excited about it. I got worried, because that is the move of somebody who is anticipating the thing down the line, and they want credit for this thing when this thing happens. Okay? So, obviously, we heard all the Zion rumors. I talked about them here on the channel. And everything just kind of ramped up. And then all of a sudden, it was Portland is not taking phone calls for Damian Lillard. Like, absolutely moving forward with Damian Lillard. And I was like, why is this a story? Like, that, to our knowledge, hasn't changed at all for 11 years. Like, why are we talking about that now? That's curious. And then we come to how tonight unfolded. Now, I don't know how you felt, but just the lack of activity while watching other teams make some moves. There weren't any blockbuster moves, really, that went down today. We saw Kristaps get moved. We saw Chris Paul get moved. But for the most part, the draft was like teams kind of tinkering around the edges, the margins, et cetera, but there wasn't this bevy of moves that was happening. But as other teams were kind of making little moves here and there, it just felt like Portland wasn't doing anything. And it felt like Portland was just happy and content to be where they were at. And it just felt like they are backing Damian Lillard into a corner, and they're going to make Dame do it. They're going to make Dame do it. They're going to make him feel disrespected. They're going to make him feel like I went public with what I wanted, like so many other stars have done. And quite frankly, so many other stars have done it way, way worse. Dame's going to feel like I spoke up and said what I wanted, and you told me you would do this. I mean, this is 2 years now of wait till the trade deadline. You get a trade deadline. Okay, wait till the summer. Okay, well, now let's just see what we have, and then by the time we get to the trade deadline, and then we get to the trade deadline, wait till the summer. I mean, this is going to keep repeating itself. So, this past season, the team goes to Dame and essentially like tells him, we would like to shut it down. Here's where we are in the standings. We don't want to risk you getting hurt. No. We would like to shut it down and have a chance to get Victor Wembanyama. And if we don't get Victor, then we will trade whatever the draft pick is. If it's 7, if it's 6, 3. But whatever the draft pick is, we will trade it to get you help. And then the Blazers move up in the draft. As you know, we get the 3rd pick. And now things have been weird. And now it feels like we are going to disrespect and push out the most solid, loyal superstar that we have ever had. And it's not just Portland. It kind of diminishes Dame a little bit to say the most loyal superstar that we have ever had. He's one of the most loyal superstar athletes in sports, period. Like, when you see the way that he has conducted himself, like on the court, in the locker room, in the community, the fact that he was at just about, by all my accounts, all the player workouts for all the players that the Blazers had in before the draft. The fact that Dame was at all those workouts, he's at the workouts of 19 and 20-year-old kids when he's already said that that is not my path. But the fact that he's there, the fact that he's being an active participant and he's going there, shows a lot of class on his part to represent the franchise as the leader of this franchise still. And look, I'm a Blazers fan, so I'm going to be stupidly, ridiculously optimistic, right? So I'm totally ready for Joe Cronin and Jody Allen to blow me away and pull a rabbit out of a hat. But reports coming out tonight by Shams and other people is that the Blazers have until free agency to get this right, which is like a week from Friday. Like, this is not a lot of time to create a championship contender around Damian Lillard. So I wanted to hop on here tonight, first and foremost, to apologize for putting out a two-part episode with Eric Brandt about our most painful Blazer moments. And when you end up seeing part 2 on Sunday, you are not going to see the current events. We make allusions to them because we didn't know, on Father's Day exactly where the Blazers would be. But I think we both agreed that we didn't think we were going to be here. So I wanted to just come on and tell you that it's going to be a little weird when part 2 drops, especially if we're further down the rabbit hole of Damian Lillard potentially having played his last game in Portland. But I wanted to come on here and just say, hey, it sucks. I don't know what we're doing. You don't treat people like this. This is not the way that you treat someone the caliber of Damian Lillard. And I'm not talking about him as an athlete. I'm talking about Damian Lillard, the human being, does not deserve to be treated like this. And there are going to be a lot of people that say, well, I mean, he's making X amount of money, and the Blazers, by the time his contract would be done, he would have made over $500 million and all that kind of stuff. Okay. But there are a lot of guys who are making Damian Lillard money who have not conducted themselves like Damian Lillard. And there are going to be other people who are going to say, well, there's a lot of people, a lot of players who make Damian Lillard money who have actually won championships and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's fair. Okay. But the things that he can control, which has been conduct himself in the right way, be available. You know, he got shut down this season, but he could have kept playing. He's really only missed a significant period of time in his career once. Last year, he had a couple of dinged up injuries, but the team mainly shut him down. So it's not like an injury ended his season. So he's been durable. He's worked on his game. He kept getting trapped, just over half court. So what did he do? He started to get better at just shooting from there. I mean, the guy is, by all accounts, a wonderful human being. And he doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve to be treated this way. You don't treat someone this way. And, like I said, I hope the Blazers pull this thing out of the fire and surprise all of us. But the way that it's going, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And one thing that I thought I would do is this Joe Cronin press conference just dropped. And I thought that I would watch it here and just comment on it. So I don't know if I'll do start and stop. I don't know if I'll show the whole thing. I'll probably put it like over my shoulder. But I just thought we would watch it together. Like we were, sitting around the living room watching it together. And I'll just give you my real-time reaction to it. Okay?
Oh, so you're struggling.
He just said, oh, we had a good turnout. Well, yeah, because the world is on fire. And everybody wants to see what's going to happen. And he's pretty smiley. Okay, so...
Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. 2023 draft is over. Always love to give a shout out to all of our hardworking scouts. They work all year scouring the globe for all the talent, throughout this great basketball universe.
Oh, yes.
From Mike Schmitz to Andre Patterson, Sergio.
There's a lot of really great
Asia
players
Jones,
from
Sharice
Uranus
Sam, Tina Thompson,
that
DJ Domingo,
that we passed on.
Danny Connors, Jake
shame.
Fox, Swang and Lamani, Nico Matthew. We have so many people that contribute to a night like this. It's
Lenny, Squiggy,
a ton of work.
Sully.
And I just want to thank them and, give them some
Tatum.
kudos for, I think, what we feel was a very successful draft.
Okay.
At pick 3, got Scoot Henderson.
Let's go. Yes.
Who has a chance to be a transcendent player in this league. Extremely talented.
Yeah, we have one.
Sky's the limit. We're incredibly excited to have Scoot come to Portland. Pick 23, Chris Murray from Iowa. We're really excited to see Chris get that far to us, to fall to 23. He does what we're trying to do, what we need more of: defense, IQ, ranginess, the ability to
I might agree with you on the IQ
disruptive
part.
on defense, and cover all kinds of different guys and be switchable and be able to drop and rotate and protect the rim a little bit, and then offensively very, very functional. So for us, Chris, that's somebody that we really liked coming into this draft and feel very fortunate, that he was there. Pick 43 in the second round. Another guy who we're very high on, Ryan Rupert, from France, played in New Zealand this year.
You got the wrong French guy.
Had a great season, ton of potential. Really rangy, long, very defensive minded, terrific worker, terrific guy, very, very high ceiling. So with those three, we feel like we got a lot accomplished. In this new environment, this new CBA and this new
that's very
basketball
key.
rule system that we play under, value contracts are extremely beneficial for a roster. They allow you a lot more flexibility to, make the moves that you're hoping to do. So
translation,
I'm sure I'll get
Jody
some questions
doesn't
about
want
why
to
3
spend
guys,
money.
why maybe some young guys. And the answer is, in order to get high-end talent on rookie scale contracts is extremely appealing to us to be able to do our other business and keep adding to this team. So all in all, I think it was an incredible day for us, and I'm ready for some questions.
Okay, good. Let's get to the questions.
At the trade deadline, you talked about very soon going all in, maybe even overpaying to bring in a star to help Damian. How close were you, if at all, to moving this pick for such a player? And if obviously you didn't, so do you feel like you still can this summer? And lastly, how has Dame reacted, if he has reacted at all, to you guys making this pick?
The goal, post lottery was to see what the value of this pick is. Both as far as evaluating the draft and evaluating the trade market. So very early on, after we moved up to 3, had a ton of different meetings with, myself and my staff, myself and Jody and Bert, myself and Chauncey and Dame.
That's the most
going
important
through,
one.
who's our targets?
Him
Who
and
are
Jody and
guys
Bert.
that make sense for us. So you go through that board, and as you're evaluating this draft and evaluating Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller, the list gets pretty small pretty quickly as far as which guys are available, plus a terrific fit on a great contract and can really take us to another level. So, we kept working
Not
those and
everything
trying to
can
see if
be
any of
that.
those players made
Not
sense.
everything can be
But end of day,
terrific
as we
player
got
on a
through
great
this,
contract, et
into
cetera, et cetera.
today,
Like, you're setting the bar so
we just
high
opted
for
to
who
go
can
with the
fit
pick
into
instead
it.
with Scoot
You're not going to make a
because
trade for anybody.
We deem him like he's just for us the better player. What was the second question? Dame and I talked when we last talked.
Oh, that's
Tuesday morning. Dame's not in Portland right now. Had a long talk Tuesday morning. That was 2 days before the draft, so there's still a lot of things can happen. Often teams don't show their hand until Wednesday or even today, or sometimes even during the draft.
yeah.
But we had a long talk about some trade possibilities. We had a good discussion about, hey, there's a strong likelihood that we're going to draft here at 3. We didn't know exactly which player would be there. Between, we didn't know who was going to go 2 at the time.
And then I said, hello, Dame.
Plenty of discussions
Hello.
about that. Haven't talked to him since Tuesday. I've been in contact with his agent, Aaron Goodwin, Wednesday, today, multiple times going into the draft, just keeping him apprised of what our plans are. And hey, we're going to draft here. So just trying to communicate and be upfront and make sure we're all on the same page.
You're not all on the same page just because you tell somebody what you're going to do. That doesn't mean you're all on the same page. That means you've told Dame and his agent, here's what we're going to do. Yeah.
Joe, is the intention still to build this roster around Damian Lillard and build towards contending on his timeline?
It is. I mean, there's nothing we want more than to, number one, for Dame to retire a Trailblazer, and 2, to put a winner around him, a high-end winner. And I think that's what gets misconstrued about Dame sometimes. Like, for us, it's an incredible problem to have. We have
it's a
the
problem.
best player in Trailblazers history that wants to be here and wants to have a winner put around him. And that's our challenge.
Right.
And that's where we've got to keep doing our thing and find ways to make this team.
No, please stop doing your thing. Like, whatever the thing is, like, this thing needs to stop.
As competitive as possible, as quickly as possible.
Joe, you
Sounds
mentioned
good,
that you wanted to see a more veteran-laden team.
Oh, here's Danny
you
Bray.
had various assets. You've expended a large portion of those assets.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to build around Damian Lillard, how can you do that at this point without either first-round pick or your second-round pick with only so many salaries left?
Mm-hmm. I think there's still a lot of movement to be had. We've got to, obviously do a good job in free agency and in the trade market in the next, especially in this activity window, the next 2-3 weeks.
Agency.
We've got to. We've planted a lot of
When we have
seeds
no
on some
money.
deals. A lot of these deals we talked about outside of 3, they weren't necessarily draft related. So sometimes these deals will carry through to, could be tomorrow, could be next week, could be going into free
that'd be
agency
great.
or outside of the moratorium. So the goal now is to, we've added some young players. The goal now is to add some veteran players that can continue to, ramp up this team.
I'm going to point it out. Worked it real hard, came up empty. The goal.
Joe, Damian was pretty unequivocal.
I know
at
it
the end
takes
of the
two
year
to
when he said,
tango, but still.
that he didn't have an appetite
It just,
for more
you hear this
19-year-olds
over and
guys
over,
who were a couple of years
and
away.
it just becomes
and
empty
I think at one point
platitudes
said
at some point.
The path was to go young. That wasn't his path. How do you square those comments with what you guys have done up to this point in the offseason? And in drafting Scoot, do you have to make that pick with
His
do you
blessing.
have to accept that a condition of making that pick may be that Dame may not be interested in where you guys are going now?
Well, but Scoot's
I
special.
think I would say, like, in regards especially to Scoot as a 19-year-old, he's not your normal 19-year-old.
Right.
This is a special player that is, of course, going to need some time to adjust to the NBA, but he's already been playing
sure.
professionally for 2 years.
2,
He's
3, 4 years.
uber talented. He's not going to take too long to find his stride. So he's a little unique in that regard. I understand what they meant by the average 19-year-old. I would just I would argue Scoot is anything but average.
He really just meant kids. He wants veterans.
Joe, both Dame and Scoot are guys that have the ball, point guards. Do you think they can play together in the backcourt? And are you kind of telling us that the
I
chances
do,
of either
but,
Dame or
it's
Scoot
going to be
being
up to
traded
Chauncey
now
to
are
see
zero?
how he wants to use them together. I think it's
Honestly,
exciting.
there's no such thing as zero, probably, but I would say that my goal is to keep both of them.
My goal is to
I already
keep
said
both.
that, I would love to see Dame retire a Trailblazer. I have zero desire to trade him. I really hope this works out here. And I think you can tell how excited I am about Scoot Henderson. And he has a chance to be, a special player in this league. So as far as them playing together, I definitely think it's a possibility that, those two would blend well together just from a talent standpoint. It's really, really high end. And I think they can complement each other as well. We'll see how Chauncey decides to use Scoot in year one, but I could see it being, I don't know how he's going to do it, whether he's going to use him as a backup.
Oh yeah,
or
I
he's
mean,
gonna use him
I
as a
don't know.
starter,
I
or,
mean, he may play 5
swing
minutes a
him.
game.
I
I
don't
don't really
do it,
know.
but
We didn't really take that into account when we
it's-
made the pick. We just kind of
basketball's
picked
about
who we wanted.
talent. I think sometimes we get caught up too much in position and size. Like for me, I'd rather have the guy like Scoot who's only 6'4", but he's
He's
we measured
6'2".
him, he's 6'2.5" barefoot. So
Thank
we'll
you.
call it 6'3", 6'3.5". I'd rather have the shorter guy who's a better player than the 6'5" guy. So like in a lot of cases, Scoot, who's so powerful and so long and so dynamic, I think he can hold his ground against some twos when he plays that sometimes. But I mean, they're both natural ones, so it's a very fair question.
Well, you finally gave that up at the end.
Joe, you've talked to Dame more than any of us here.
Jason, quick.
After those conversations, I mean, do you feel like you're in danger of losing him?
You feel like it.
No,
I can hear it in
I
your
don't.
voice.
I
Me
think
too. And you don't.
Dame badly wants to win. And he's probably being more vocal about that than ever, but I don't look at that as a negative. I look at that as he's passionate about this.
No.
It matters deeply to him. And
that on his part is fine. Him being passionate and sharing that is fine. It's what is happening in reaction to that that is the problem.
matters deeply to us. And I think the reason you haven't seen major issues from us, or the reason you still see Dame in our gym every day, or still meeting with Chauncey and I constantly, is because he wants us to work. He's bought in. He wants it to work here, and he's challenging us to get it done, which I think is more than fair, and he's earned that.
Bear with me a little bit. So last year with Shaden, he was spectacular, but he clearly made a lot of mistakes, and therefore he wasn't really ready to help the team win. Do you feel like Scoot is a young player who can help a team win?
So
at
is he
19,
better
which is
than
extremely
Shaden?
Unusual. And if he can't, and
Than
Dame
where
looks around
Shaden
and
was?
doesn't see other veterans that he can win with, and sees that you actually got younger when you, Billups and Dame, ended the season saying you guys were way too young. You blamed yourself for some of that, and you didn't have enough size, and you just added the 6'2" guy. How does any of that add up to Dame coming close to being remotely
Oh my God, that's a
okay
great
with
question.
any of this? And not requesting a trade, and if he does, would you accept
Great
that?
question.
Scoot's going to have his up and downs. You know, the rookie year is hard on a player. You know, not just adjusting to the amount of talent up here, but also, you know, figuring out how to, you know, guard all these different players and, you know, run all these different plays,
You know,
and learn
plays
your
and
teammates and
shooting
get through
the
82
sport
games,
ball
which is way
into
more
the
than any of these
goal
young guys have
place.
ever played. So there's a lot of obstacles to a season. So I'm not at all saying this Scoot season is going to be effortless or, you know, not have, you know, some negative moments to it, but every player is different in their preparation and how they got here. You know, the paths between Scoot and Shaden couldn't be more different, and just in the amount that they had played against high quality competition, and just, you know, the reps that they had gotten at that point. And I think you saw it with Shaden, where, like, you look at that growth curve from that first game at Sacramento to the last game here in Portland, you know, against Golden State. I mean, tremendous growth in a very short period of time, you know, and these uber talented guys are able to pull that off. You know, a lot of it is, are you physically ready? And, you know, often when you see these long runways, or guys take multiple years, often they're just not physically there yet. You know, they got to get stronger. They got to grow into their bodies. They've got to put on weight, you know. With Scoot and Shaden, they're a little unique that way because they're so strong and ready to go already. Now it's just the mental part. How fast can that catch up?
Okay, so 2 more questions. Nothing earth-shattering.
Joe,
Danny
beyond
Meringue again.
Whether Dame and Scoot can play together in the long term, you've now got 4 guys in Dame, Ant, Scoot, and Shaden, who are essentially 1s and 2s, even if Shaden can swing up. There's 96 minutes between the two. How can you have those 4 guys when Dame and Ant are taking up 70 minutes a night?
Well, you know, I mean, that's going to be the
Shaden's
challenge
likely
for
taking up
Chauncey.
20. You're looking at,
you know,
6 minutes a night in development for a number 3
I
pick.
think
How
that's
does
what's
the
going to be
value
so
scale
good. They're
for
so
that
switchable.
work for you if you go into the season with all 4?
I think the first thing you said is, yeah, Shaden can swing a little, which helps, but there's naturally 12 minutes right behind Dame, where if Ant doesn't swing to the 1 as often, so you get that. It's still figuring it out, you know, like,
terrible. Not that I expected a good
really
answer.
important thing in a draft, and, you know, we hear it all the time, and probably here in Portland more than anywhere, draft for talent, not need. It's critical, and I just wasn't going to be moved at all by need, especially drafting that high. I was drafting the best player possible, and then we're going to figure it out.
Joe, at the trade deadline, I asked you about, this fan base has been waiting and waiting for some sort of big move. And once again tonight, yes, you draft number 3, but a lot of people were hoping for a trade. What do you have to say to this fan base again that is once again probably being preached patience?
I would say we made the biggest move possible by drafting Scoot Henderson, that he's going to be better than any player that would maybe be perceived as that big move. And then you start factoring in the other things that matter in this league, the salary cap, him on a rookie scale. That allows us to build a lot more depth than we would have been able to otherwise.
Joe, with all of these things kind of at play, what you just said about draft picks and rookie scale contracts being so valuable with the new CBA, but then you also saying that you want to put more impact veterans around Dame. Are you more motivated or feel any kind of sense of urgency now to use future draft capital in order to make some moves to kind of bring some of those guys in if the goal is still to pull around Dame?
Yes, I do. Good question. And that's where there's other stuff to do here. I feel like we've done a good job of putting ourselves in a good position to, make these moves and start to get aggressive and push. I say this quite a bit, push our chips in. We've got good picks. We've got good players. We've got a lot of talent in this building. And now we've just got to, fine tune it and get it balanced and get it.
You've been saying this for 2
years.
It's been the same thing for 2 years.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. All right. So.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it from Joe Cronin's press conference tonight. At some point, Wimpy cannot keep telling you he will gladly pay you for he will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. At some point, kids, look it up. At some point, we can't keep being told this and be expected that we are just going to blindly believe it. If you notice a lot of things in that press conference, he mentioned multiple occasions how important the rookie scale contracts are and the salary cap. And he alluded to the new CBA, which has the apron and all that stuff that's going on that people way smarter than me, like, go over to Blazers Uprise and follow those guys. They can explain it to you way better than I ever could. But when you hear all that, that is Jody. That's Jody not wanting to spend a lot of money, not wanting to, make moves that are going to put this team into the luxury tax. I'm telling you, they may make some sort of lateral move that they can try to sell and talk about how excited they are and so on and so forth. But if they re-sign Jeremy Grant at the very beginning of free agency and they try to make some sort of show of he was a priority for us, he was our number one priority in free agency, we went out, we got him, and we brought him back, and then that therefore hard caps Portland to where they can't do other things, it's just same old song, man. Same old song. I could ramble on this a lot, and this is probably not going to be very entertaining or interesting for any of you to watch, so I apologize, but I just thought the nature of the night, draft night 2023, is pretty depressing, and I wanted to come out and say, we have like 349 subscribers now, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for subscribing, so thank you. And I think there's only like 30% of the people who watch the content on the channel are actually subscribed. So if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. The content will be a lot better than this. But yeah, it's a bummer. The next 8 days are going to be insane with Stephen A. Smith and just Damian Lillard needs to get the hell up out of Portland. I mean, we're going to hear that every single day. Thank God the weekend's coming up. But, yeah, it's going to get loud. And I don't know, man. I think we may have seen the end of the Lillard era. And if it ends with the franchise not making good on their promises to go all in for him and push our chips in and all that kind of stuff, you know, I'll always root for the Blazers. And I mean, they've been my favorite team for, you know, many, many years now. But it'll be hard. It'll be hard. And that's why we have Rip City Retro, because we can relive the good old days. And it's just hard to imagine that the good old days might end up welcoming Damian Lillard into the true Rip City Retro fold in terms of being someone from the past that we talk about. That would be a big bummer. But anyway, I've gone on for way too long, but I thought you guys might be curious as to what I think, because you're not really going to get what I think over the next couple of days. Part 2 of my and Eric's now outdated most painful moments in Blazers history is going to come out this Sunday. You know, going to be fun stuff on there. Still some really good memories, but some moments that really hurt. This one's kind of special because it's organizationally what's going on. Those, for the most part, if I'm remembering correctly on both of our parts, I think they're all mainly just basketball stuff. It's all stuff that happened on the court or didn't end up happening on the court. So we're really proud of that podcast. It's a shame it's a little outdated with the news today, but hopefully you will like it on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, click like, share, subscribe, comment down below. How are you feeling? If you are a longtime Blazers fan like me, this hurts because we don't get this. Like, we don't get players like Damian Lillard who are this loyal, this good, like this wonderful of a human being, wants to stay here, and is that talented. And it kind of feels like we're just getting wrapped up in the new hotness and, you know, we're going to passive aggressively force him to break up with us. And it's a terrible thing to do to him, and it's a terrible position to put him in. And until it happens, I'll hold out hope that we don't do that. But I think we all kind of feel uneasy right now. So anyway, I'm probably not going to do anything creative on an outro or anything like that because the editing takes me so long, and I just want to get this out to you guys. So until next time, I am Rich Finley, and yeah, let's see what happens.
You're it. You're it. You're it. Quincy's. Any Quincy's. You're it. Quincy's. No, any Quincy's, no startsies. You can't do that. Can do. Cannot. Stamped it. Can't do. Double stamped it. No erases. Cannot. Triple stamped it. No erases. Tell Blue, make it true. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd. You guys. Enough. Hey. Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, click the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.